Guys, it's time we had this conversation. The sport of MMA just went back about 5 years. I mean, I watched the MVP card, the Gina Carano versus Ronda Rousey fight, and the whole thing just felt like a whole cash grab at the end of the day. I mean, yeah, the hype was real. I don't know what people were expecting, but they obviously did not get a vintage Ronda Rousey performance. They didn't get a vintage Gina Carano performance. And yet you have people, you know, openly saying that Ronda Rousey will have a fantastic career had she be in present day UFC, which is just absolutely ridiculous. What do you expect is going to happen when somebody goes in there and competes against someone who hasn't competed in MMA for over a decade? Then you get Francis Ngannou as well, he basically fought a tomato can. The guy got released at the UFC and he obliterates his opponent, knocks him out in spectacular fashion in the first round. And honestly, what did you expect? The guy's not UFC level in the first place, not Ngannou maybe, but the other guy, not UFC caliber. And of course, Ngannou is a good fighter, but let's not say that we expected anything less than what occurred. The whole card, the whole event, you would have seen that the attendance numbers were fairly low, but I don't think that would basically make a big impact towards the bottom line of this whole MVP card. The cancer that is known as Jake Paul, they basically put this event together, will not care in the slightest because if you were to think about it, they make the most of their money from, I guess, Netflix subscriptions, and Netflix pays them and whatnot. So it's all good. It's going to depend entirely whether or not Netflix renews them and has another MMA event being hosted by MVP Promotions once again, which I don't think that's going to happen. But of course, stranger things have happened. I'd say based on the attendance of the event itself, and maybe with the worldwide perception that this event got, it might give Netflix something to think about. And then, of course, you had Dana White, who announced Conor McGregor versus Max Holloway, too. And that's going to happen during International Fights Week. And to be honest, I don't know, guys. I cannot see Conor McGregor winning this fight at all. So MMA feels like it's in a very weird space right now. You'd have Dana White, when he announces fights and such, it feels like he's checked out completely. He's got his priorities with Power Slap, and obviously wants to do other things with, boxing as well. So you've got that. You've got Jake Paul trying to run MMA and boxing simultaneously. So obviously this is his first outing into the world of MMA. And all things considered, it wasn't that bad, but you could just say it just reeks of a cash grab. And I don't know, but when I started watching MMA back in the day, which maybe 2009, so this would be 17 years ago. That's when I really got into it. The whole climate has just changed significantly. I remember the days of like tap out shirts, and then, it was a very niche thing. So since it became mainstream, a lot of things have changed. Some for the better, with regards to a lot of these guys have been given much more exposure. You can make a career out of it. It's no longer tagged as a human cockfighting situation. So that is good. But then, of course, you've got the involvement of global conglomerates where they also throw their hats into the ring, so to speak. And now it's becoming profits over everything else. So the incentive to put together the best matchups is not there anymore. And I don't know where it's going to head at the end of the day. You've got money over everything. You got popularity. Fighters are being chosen via their popularity, whether they get title shots and whatnot. So it's weird. But not complaining, though, because if you got your guys like Conor McGregor, who's very popular, and he can drive the numbers, then they'll compete. And the guy's entertaining as well. Now, when it comes down to Max Holloway versus Conor McGregor, they could have given him a better matchup. honestly. They could have given him maybe Michael Chandler or maybe Colby Covington as well. But I just see that Max is going to volume strike him into oblivion. Maybe second to third round TKO. That's my opinion. And props to Dana as well. Dana was getting in there. He was like, at the exact moment that Francis Ngannou walks out for his fight, Dana White goes and he tweets, boop, Conor McGregor versus Max Holloway. And to Jake Paul's credit, though, he did mention it in the post-fight presser as well. He did mention it shows you in what state the UFC is in if they were to basically still ride on Conor McGregor's coattails, and call that a fight. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Not really much that I'm excited about right now. This whole MVP MMA card, I just knew from the get-go it wasn't going to be all that good. Nate Diaz himself, he looked like he was 50 years old. He had no business in the ring. Mike Perry, loved the guy. He went out there and he did his job. Nate Diaz had no business being in that ring. And I don't even think the dude trained, to be honest with you guys. So, Junior Dos Santos, I don't even know the guy still fights. So, yeah, he got brutally knocked out as well. So, at what point do we say, maybe the money's not worth it, and maybe, the guys need to look after their long-term health. Can't be taking these blows and getting punished like that, just for some bucks. But to be honest, I mean, you guys would probably also, if being put in that situation, also probably go for the money, right? So, yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, let's see what happens. I do maintain, though, with everything that's going on, the smaller promotions are still bringing the action. I mean, our local promotion, EFC, there's still been a couple of good fights there. Some fights completely out of whack, and then sometimes it just hits it out of the park. So yeah, there's a lot of optimism there, but I suppose some things need to change. I think the UFC needs proper competition, and I don't think MVP is it. So at the end of the day, what do you make of MVP's outing into the MMA world? Let me know what you guys think, whether you enjoyed the card, whether you'd like to see more of it, whether you are actually interested in seeing Jake Paul versus Mike Perry in an MMA fight. That's something to look out for. So, but yeah, that's just my thoughts on the whole event as it is, now that we had pretty much a day to digest everything. And I'd be curious to hear what you guys think. Have a good evening, and God bless.